So, hello, me timers. I am so excited for my guest today that I have for a PAVE interview. It is a good friend of mine. Her name is Jorell. Call her JoJo. And I'm just going to take a step back for a second and allow her to introduce herself.
Hello, me timers. As Renee said, my name is Jorell, but I prefer to be called JoJo by the ones that love me. I have known Renee for, gosh, a long time.
Yeah.
A long time. I met her in her past life, the education world. We worked
2011,
at
I think. 2011.
probably. It's
Yep,
been a long
2010,
time.
2011. Wow.
Yeah. Both our boys were still like little. So
Yep.
it's been a long time. So I love her dearly. I'm excited about what she's doing in this new phase of her life. And I'm happy to be here. I'm excited to see what this interview is like and what comes of it.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm starting PAVE, Pave the Way in 2023. And PAVE stands for Permission to Put You First. That's the P. A is able to do so without guilt or shame, because sometimes when we put ourselves first, we are ashamed or feel guilty about it. B is value. Value your mind and body with soul work. And E is encouraging the balancing of the scales with goal setting. So today, we're going to spin the wheel and pick what we're going to talk about. But before we spin the wheel, I always like to start off with a mental victory vibe celebration.
Okay.
So, what mental victory vibe celebration did you do for yourself either today or maybe this week?
So today, so I recently moved to a new state, like kind of by myself, well, with my son, but he's older, has his own life, he's an adult child. So I spend a lot of time like alone, usually by myself. I feel like it's hard to make friends when you're older. So I joined a meetup group, which is outside of my comfort zone. I'm very much an introvert, very shy. Yep, I am. And so I joined this meetup group, and today I went to a brunch, and I actually enjoyed myself. So it was just all women. This particular group is all women, and we went to brunch, and I talked, and I got into the conversation. I was
Whoa.
yeah, in the conversation, and I felt good. I was like, okay, because one of the things I don't make New Year's resolutions. I do like to make set intentions for the new year. And actually, this year I did a vision board. Well, I'm working on it, and one of the things for my vision for myself for 2023 was to get outside my comfort zone and make new friends.
Oh,
So
but I like that. I like that. I think that it relates a lot to me coming from behind the scenes and being on the healthcare side and now moving into this world of coaching and just really being out and working in the community. I walk on site and I'm nervous. I'm like, oh my gosh, do I really want to talk to people? Because in my mind is screaming, hey, go find your spot,
yeah.
chill out, and just observe.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Mm-hmm.
there's that other part, Riri Positive be like, girl, you hear the network. Now get on out there and
Do it.
talk about
Yeah.
what you do. Get out your own head. You know.
Yes.
So I get that. And I actually went on a meetup this morning too.
Oh, cool.
Hiking with Outdoor Afro. So
Oh.
yeah, they have all kind of stuff, girl. They're snorkeling, they're out there doing all kind of stuff, scuba diving.
Mhm.
And when I met
Okay, cool.
the volunteer, one of the volunteer leaders here in Tampa, they were actually kayaking. And she was like,
Oh.
girl, you need to come and do this with us. And I was like, okay, swim. And she was like, get you some lessons
Yeah.
and get on over here. So I went and did some lessons. However, the lessons were like, what do you want to learn? Everything. I don't know how to swim. What do you need to know? Uh,
How to
Everything.
swim?
I don't know how to swim. Uh, have you ever tread water? I I don't know how to swim. And that's what I told her today. I said, I'm still not confident in those skills. I am not kidding you. 6 weeks of lessons, and you walk
Oh,
in, and after you've said, I don't know. First of all, I had to get over the fact I had to put my head in the water.
yes. Yes. Yeah. I don't know how to swim either, so I can relate to that. But I have a fear of drowning, so I don't know that if I'm ever going to be able to learn how to swim.
Yeah. So meetups. Hey, we did two things today.
Yes,
And
yes.
we are two introvert friends for sure. We are just out there. We got to, you
Yes.
know, it's a great time. It's like our roles have shifted, right?
Mhm.
Um, we're parental consultants now.
Yeah. Yeah. And it does. Like I had to I'm still working on it, getting out of the mind of mommy mind, provide, I gotta provide, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. My son doesn't need that anymore. He's like very, very independent. So it's like now I have to find me again. Find Jorell the woman, not Jorell the mom. I know that role very well, but it's Jorell the woman and the things that interest me and what I want to do now.
So you know what? You just got the name for our show today. We're gonna finding the woman.
Okay, I like it.
Finding the woman. So let's get started. I am
Okay.
going to spin the wheel.
Okay.
Oh gosh. I hope I don't knock that over. Can you see it?
Yes.
All right. What's our topic?
It's on the line thing.
You in between. Okay.
Self-love. I can't
Self-love.
read the bottom of it, but it's
Okay.
self-love.
Self-love is our topic, and focusing on one intention and then repeating it. That's usually what I have my what I ask folks to do at when they're setting a affirmation and I'm out at a community event.
Okay.
But it actually ties in well because self-love on how to find yourself again, finding the woman again.
Yes. I like it. Okay.
All right, so that's going to be our topic. So my first question, what have you done or considered doing to develop healthier habits as you and beliefs as you walk into this finding you?
So the first thing I did, I kind of started my mind shift kind of started probably during the pandemic. And that's because, we were all like locked in at home so much. And when we were at home, I realized just how much I started to realize how much my son didn't need me. So it was kind of because I'm good at being a mother. I'm a great provider. I love taking care of people, not just my son, but I love taking care of people. So I know that role well. But when I was found that I had to shift, it was time for me to shift out of that and kind of even get to know myself again as a person. One of the first things I did was start to journal. So I started to journal how I was feeling, try to think about some of the dreams, like things I wanted to do as a little girl. Now I can't be a ballerina at this point, I can't be a gymnast at this point, but I can take dance classes, I can do something of the sort. So I started journaling and I started journaling specifically about that because I've always kind of journaled for the last probably 15 or so years because it's therapeutic for me. So I started journaling about the next phase of my life. And I actually call that journal the next phase of my life. Don't have a lot in there, but it's just like it's like thoughts. Sometimes it's just random thoughts. So I started journaling. And then when I hit a wall with that or felt stuck, I started therapy. And I have started been in therapy for I guess several months now, probably about 9 months and and I feel like I'm making a lot of progress. I'm proud of the progress I made in therapy and looking to more.
That's good. That's good. So what I remember a blog post. My blog post in August was about more.
Mhm.
And it was having that open mind to reinvent your empty nest because um it's hard, right? It's
Mhm.
hard.
Yes.
We can definitely attest to like everything is about the kids first, and
Mhm.
then you think about you,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So when you started to just kind of break through and go through your process, what was the first thing you realized that you you learned about yourself? What was the first thing you learned about yourself, or that you realized, hey, this used to be me. I'm so glad to see her.
Oh, that's a good question. I would say one of the first things that I realized that I had forgotten how ambitious I actually am because I felt like when I was in provider mode, it was just like, um, I got to provide. So, I have to have this stable job, even if I don't like it. And like, not that I don't have to provide because I certainly can't be homeless. But now it's like, I feel like if I wanted to do found a job or found something to do that I really liked, even though it may not be, at the top of my pay scale, that I could take that pay cut to work my way back up. So it just kind of woke up some of the ambitions in me that I used to have. Because I remember as a young girl, I was very creative. Like I used to write songs, I used to write poetry.
Wow.
So it kind of helped me remember like some of those things I used to do and how ambitious and how creative I used to be as well.
Okay. All right. So you wouldn't be, so you revisited your inner child
I guess so.
and
I
took
feel
that
like I
little
need
girl you
still
were
need
then out
to,
to lunch and said,
yeah,
"Hey, what you want to do?"
yeah, I need to like dig deeper because I still feel like it's buried just because, life happens, things happen, and you just not necessarily deal with things, you just move on. You put them to the
Hmm.
side and then more time passes. So I feel like I need to dig her out because I was sitting one day, I think I was talking to my son, and I was just thinking about like childhood. And like I do remember wanting to be a gymnast. I would jump off, do backflips off the kitchen table, backflips off the chairs. I would wanted to do, I mean, a gymnast. I wanted to be a gymnast. I would write songs and sing them, horribly sing them, but I would write them and sing them. Because I remember my mother was like, JoJo, would you please? That was her thing, because it was like I was singing my songs, but they didn't make no sense. They didn't have no rhythm, but it was acapella and they were my songs. And then I would write poetry. It was like, dang, what happened to that? Like, what happened to that creativity? But life happened.
Yeah. Yeah. Life happens, and reclaiming that,
Yes.
reclaiming that, I think is very important. But it happens in a process.
Yeah.
And tell me how you're loving yourself through this process, JoJo.
How I'm loving myself.
Yes, through this
Um,
process.
I'm loving getting to know myself again. And I take time, I give myself permission to just be. A lot of times when you're in mommy mode, you're always on the go. Like, and you're like, I found that my mind didn't even know how to relax. I didn't know how to have downtime. That's another thing where the reason why the pandemic was good, because there was only so much we could do, right?
Hmm.
So I learned like just how to be. Like I didn't have to be doing anything. If I was just sitting thinking or sitting enjoying some guilty pleasures on TV, it was okay. Like the world wasn't going to end. I wasn't lazy, I wasn't being unproductive, I was just being, giving myself time and space to just be. And I felt like that was important because my mind was always going, always like thinking about the next, like, whatever it was, whether it was
Hmm.
what am I going to do with these classes, or I got to do this for my day job, because I've been working two jobs since 2007. So it's like, I don't know
Wow.
what I'm going to do when I, just work one job, but I'm looking forward to it. So just giving myself the permission to just be was a huge thing for me. And learning to love on me and to celebrate me, learning to celebrate myself, whether it's you did nothing today and it's okay, feel good about that, or celebrating if I accomplished something. So those were two big things for me because like I said, in that mind, in that mode, and growing up, I didn't get a lot of not intentionally, but that's just how it was. I didn't get a lot of attention, so I didn't know how to even be celebrated, and certainly didn't know how to celebrate myself. So,
I think that a lot of women can relate to that. We definitely like it's a lot of women. I know I can as well. Our moms were definitely there, but they had so many other things to
yes,
do, right? And they offered us what they could.
yes.
And I can remember this is actually a recent conversation I had with my mom, maybe about 2, 3 weeks ago. I said, "Mom, do you ever feel some kind of way because you didn't spend a lot of time with us all the time?" She was like, "No, because I was a good provider."
Mm-hmm.
And I respect that 100%
Mm-hmm.
because I told my sister just yesterday, actually, my younger sister, I said, we execute because our mom taught us that.
Yes,
She went straight
yes.
ahead to do something and she executed, she got it done.
Mm-hmm.
So we definitely, it's not always about the hugs. It's about some of the things that you learn during the process as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because as they get older, your parents hug on you a whole lot more. I know my mama do.
Yeah, my mom's gone now, but she definitely did, like, as we got older, and I think that, one of the things I learned from her was, of course, that drive, that how to be a provider, but I also gave my son some of the things that I feel like I didn't get, and if yeah, he was the only child, so it was easy to give him attention, but there are many children that are the only child and they don't get it, so I tried to give him, um my love as a provider, but also my love as a show him physically that I loved him and tell him that I loved him. Not that she didn't ever do it, but I just did it because I feel like it gave him a confidence that heck I'm still working on, but he has that confidence because he knows
Mhm.
for sure that he's loved because he's been provided for, excuse me, and he's been validated in other ways that gave him the ability to be confident. So
Go ahead, mom. Go ahead, mom. I mean, it's the things that's passed down that are taught to us from our mothers that are not always verbal lessons. It's in their
yeah.
actions, right?
Hmm.
You know, and those are the things that we continue to pass on, and we also build upon. We
Yes.
also build upon. I mean,
Mhm.
same thing I say with my daughter. I had to fix that relationship. You know, I'm gonna love on you the way you need to be loved, because I'm
Yeah,
gonna definitely fix me. And
yeah.
it's it's a process, right?
Mhm.
It's a
It is.
process.
It's definitely a process.
So when you think about the direction that you're going, finding it out. You got the vision board. You working through your parental consultant role. You know, you're
I like that.
working through a lot of those internal things, breaking down some of those barriers and
Mhm.
revisiting those things. What do you say to yourself when self doubt creeps in, or your saboteur creeps in? And and while you're in the midst of this process.
Um, that's a good question because I just had a conversation with somebody on Friday. Like I deal the um negative self-talk, negative thoughts, I'm very familiar with. Like we have been besties or have been besties for a long time. So try to break those habits is like I affirm myself. Like I have affirmations on sticky notes on my mirror and I say those every morning. Then I have some that I recorded in my voice notes on my phone. If I feel it, then I'll say those. I'll get a scripture. One of my favorite scriptures is trust in the Lord with all thine heart, lean not to thy own
Yes.
understanding.
Proverbs
So
9
when
6, girl. Proverbs 9 6. Why you gotta take me there?
yeah, that's my favorite scripture. So that helps me too. It's like no matter how, and then like, and I also know that no matter how I see myself, God sees me differently. He sees me whole, perfect in his eyes and complete. So those things help me. I still struggle with it. But I just try to, and I'll talk, you can find me like if I'm having that moment, I'm to myself, trust in the Lord with all, whispering under my breath because I feel like the only way if I have a negative thought, the only way I can counteract for me, the only way I can counteract that is to speak out of my mouth something positive.
Mhm. Mhm. Reframing that negative
Yeah.
thought into something positive. I am no longer accepting. I am.
Yeah.
And I understand that process well, because even in now, I still do it. Like it's every day. You know, it's
Yes.
every day. And it's taking that time to show myself that I value me. You know,
Yes.
sometimes
Yes.
I get up and I say, girl, you looking so good today. Let's go for a walk. You
Yes.
know, something like
Mhm.
that, just to value me.
Yes,
So
I think that's important, and it makes you feel good, like and then for me, it's also not that I ever sought validation from people, because I just never thought I mean, I never needed it, but at the same time, it feels good when I validate myself because I don't need anybody else to do it for me because I believe I'm just that wonderful, so if you tell me, good, yay, I feel how good for telling me, but I already know that, and I have to it takes work for me to, continue to believe it, but I do know it. Deep down inside, I know it, but practicing it every day, that's what I have to keep at.
it's making me so excited. I'm ready to jump out the seat, girl. Ready to jump out the seat over here. I'm not even kidding. I'm ready to jump out the seat. Raina right next to me. She'd be like, what's going on? So I want to try something a little different.
Okay.
So I know you have my affirmation cards, but I have picked a few that
Okay.
I'm going to read to you. And I want you to tell me how, whether you focus on them in a way of self gratitude,
Okay.
self care, or self trust. And how does that align with setting that intention as you walk through your self love journey? Now, I know that's a lot. So we
Okay.
only got three: self gratitude.
Okay. You might
Okay.
have to repeat. Let me see. Let me write them down. Self gratitude. Self.
Self care and self trust.
Okay.
Okay. And as you're going down your river, it stops at a bank and self love is there. So, how are you tying that all together? Okay.
Okay.
Ready?
I think so.
I am no longer my own worst critic. No more second guessing and third rethinking.
So for me, that would be in self trust. Number
Mhm.
one, because I need to trust myself enough to know that, and I feel out the affirmation already.
I am no longer my own worst critic.
Okay.
No more second guessing and third rethinking.
Okay. So I have to trust myself to know that I am no longer my worst critic, but I'm my best supporter. I'm my
Woo!
best encourager.
I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. I got excited. I'm sorry. I'm throwing it
And
down.
it also is in gratitude because I'm grateful and I'm thankful that I've learned to trust myself and listen to what do you call her?
A Riri positive.
Riri Positive. Yes, to Riri Positive. And it's also self-care because I'm taking care of myself as a whole when I trust myself, when I have gratitude, and then you said like the self-love when I love myself. So that's to me that it's all they all kind of tie in. Sure, I feel like sometimes in our journey we focus on one more than the other,
Mhm.
but they all tie in together.
Yeah, I think some have more of a season than others, but it
Yeah.
kind of dwindles down as you grow more. You go through a different season, right?
Hmm.
Go through a different season. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, you ready?
Yes.
I see no limitations in believing in myself.
Oh, that's good. Um, I see no limitations in believing in myself. So I still think, is that the dog?
You hear, I told you I was going to put her away, but even if I put her away and she's over in the
Oh,
crate,
she
you can
makes
still
noises.
hear her snoring over here.
Okay. So, okay, so that would be, I think, gratitude and trust. It's self-gratitude and self-trust. So,
Elaborate, elaborate.
okay. So gratitude in myself to know that the only limitations that I have are the ones I put on myself. So grateful to know that, to learn that. And then trust myself enough to know that the only limitations I put on myself the only limitations I have are the ones I put on myself. Nobody can box me in unless I allow them to.
And you got to have patience.
Yes, and I do have to have patience
And sometimes, but we have to have patience. Sometimes we want what we want when we want it,
when we want it. Yeah.
but God is like, this is not your season, baby. You
Yes.
still growing.
That's true. I think Joe Osteen was saying that today about patience and like how we have to learn and how we are in the wait while we're waiting. Do we get, disgruntled? Are we mad? God, I said, I thought you was gonna do, but it's like, no, God, I know this is going to, I know what I asked you for, I know what your word says, I know it's going to happen. And I may not see it right now, but I know you're working behind the scenes. So patience is I used to say that I would never pray for patience, and I don't. But I do think I have a measure of patience.
Yeah.
I
I
like
think it's
Job.
something that
I
comes
like
with
Job.
time, right? I think it's something that comes with time.
Yes.
And patience is in different parts of your life. I mean,
Yeah.
like when I'm outside driving and I'm trying to get somewhere, my patience is not as
Yeah.
long as my patience is
No,
on this
they
journey.
leave me on the freeway. They
you
leave
know,
me.
I love it. I love it. You ready for the next one?
Yes.
I am smiling more and judging myself less.
That is true. So that is self-care, definitely self-care. Self-love. I don't know if that's one of my options, but that's self-love.
Uh-huh.
Um
You can
gratitude.
you can put some self-acceptance or some self-forgiveness in there. I
Oh
was just
yeah,
trying to shorten it up
self-forgiveness,
for you.
self-forgiveness, self-trust too. So I used to be very judgmental. I used to be very judgmental on myself and others, but it was a result of growing up in a strict no shade, but a strict religious environment where it's like you can't do this, you don't do that. If you do that, like there was a lot of
Mhm.
rules. So, but living life teaches you lessons, and during that process I learned to forgive myself because I'm gonna make mistakes, because I'm not perfect, and that doesn't mean that God loves me any less. Like he loves me just as raggedy as my life may have been, or I'm a work in progress, and he loves me, period. And so I learned, life taught me not to judge others, and not to judge, and not to be so hard on myself, because it's gonna things are gonna happen, and I'm gonna be okay. And I can love myself while I'm on my way to where I'm going.
Yes, I think that's a really, really important point. And for all of the folks watching this, that put that on rewind, snip that out,
Yeah.
make that part of something that you hear all the time. Because depending on the day or the situation, you're hard on yourself and you forget
Yeah.
to love yourself through the process. And this is an opportunity for you to take a step back, take a couple deep breaths, and say, "Hey, I'm gonna
Hmm.
be okay. I am okay."
Yes. And sometimes I am given, it depends on what's going on. Sometimes I still am really hard on myself, but even if I recognize that I'm being hard on myself in the moment, I try to catch myself and be like, no, be patient with yourself. You're gonna get there. It's gonna be okay. Trust yourself. You're a work in progress, girl. Keep moving. As long as you're moving, you're making progress. So I can't say that I've, actually, that I've arrived with judging myself and being hard on myself, or not judging myself and not being hard on myself, but I'm definitely working on it. And I recognize, most of the time I can recognize it for what it is.
Yes, you said I'm a work in progress, and I do have an affirmation card that says, oops, I am a work in progress. Because I think every now and then we have to be reminded we are expected to show up a certain way, right? And have it all together. And it's okay not to have all the answers.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, I agree. It's okay not to have all the answers, and to be, figure it out as you go.
Okay, I got two more.
Okay.
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
I am setting healthy boundaries and say no when I need to.
Let me say that I am setting healthy boundaries and saying no when I need to. That is on my vision board, because that is an area that I truly struggle with, setting boundaries, not necessarily for myself, but for other people. Um, I am a middle child. I have an older sister. I have a younger sister. I have always been a helper. I feel like
Mhm.
that's one of my gifts. So when you're like that, people, they're gonna ask you to help, whether you really have the capacity to do it or not. And I've had a problem saying no. So of course that rolled over into other areas of my life. In my relationships, my romantic relationships, and my friendships, on the job, saying no and setting healthy boundaries is definitely an area that I am still working on, and giving myself permission to say no, and guess what, not feel guilty about it. Because that's the other thing, I might say I don't want to do it, or I'm not available to do it, but then I'm like, oh dang, you really could. Maybe I should have said I could do it,
Uh-huh.
so just saying no and moving on, and not feeling any way about it, any type of way about it. So I'm working on that. But I think that would be trusting myself, because
Mhm.
it's trusting myself to know that I need to set some boundaries, and it's okay. because if I'm raggedy and I've given all from my cup, I have nothing to give and anything to give to myself, and my cup is empty, pouring into others. It's definitely self care. It's definitely self acceptance. And you said another one. Oh, and
Self forgiveness. Got self forgiveness in that too, because you have to forgive yourself for not for saying no, right?
yes,
Because immediately I'm gonna call him right back,
yes.
and I'm gonna say I'm gonna do it.
Yes, and especially if it's my younger sister, because my younger sister is my baby. Like literally,
I
she
am
has been
about
my
that.
baby since she was born. So it's like I would go to the ends of the earth for her, but she's not a baby. She's a grown adult just like me. So I can't take care of her anymore. And that was hard for me. It was really hard for me to learn. And after our mother passed, I wanted to do it even more. And it wasn't my job. Sure, I'm her sister. So there are certain things as a sister, you just, the relationship you just do. And we're sisters, but I'm not her provider. I'm not her, I'm not that. I can't play that role for her. I'm going to be the best sister that I can be. But even with that, there's boundaries. So I'm still learning that.
It's a process, and I just want to clarify too. All this time we've been friends, I didn't know you were a middle child. I am a middle child, and I treat my younger sister the same way. So we are like we have a lot of no
Yes.
wonder.
Yes. And like
That
my oldest sister, it's so like that relationship with my younger sister is so different because my older sister is 7 years older than me and 10 years older than my other sister. So it's like, by the time she was like an adult, it seemed like to us when we were kids. It was like, dang, she's so old. Not that I'm older, it's not that much old, but it just seemed like, she was so much older. And then it was like me and my younger sister, and we're like 4 years apart, basically. Certain times, sometimes of the year 3, but 4. And it was just like, I was like taking care of her. I taught her how when we were little, when I would go to school, I would come home and teach her my lesson. I taught her how to tie her shoes. It was like, so she was literally like my a live baby doll, kind of like. So with that, it was like, I was kind of like her second mom, so to speak, growing up. So it's hard. So it's like I'm a middle child, but I felt like my biggest role in that was a big sister, even though I'm a
yeah,
middle child.
that's
So
how I feel about Eb. I I love my younger sister to death. Go to the end of the earth for her, and she knows it. And my oldest sister is 13 months apart, and she's so bossy. But
I
I
know.
love her because I know she's gonna call me and check me when I need to be checked. But then
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna get off the phone and grumble under my breath, like I can't believe her trying to call me and you know.
No, I'm
Um,
the bossy one. I boss everybody, but it's that caretaker thing. Like I'm telling everybody what to do, older one and younger one.
Yeah,
So,
my older sister be on it. She done checked me so many times, and we bump heads a lot too. But she'll check me. Like, will check me. I could be on getting an award, okay, and I step out of line and look like I'm being rude. Rashawn go stand up and say, "Hey, try that again. You know better than that."
but I love that because I feel like sisters are supposed to be able to do that.
Yeah, my older sister definitely will do that. Okay, definitely. She don't care. She not care. She be like, "You know better. Our mom taught us better than that." You know, I got one last one.
Okay.
I celebrate myself because I am an amazing person.
I do that now. I've learned to do that more within the last probably 2.5 years. So I guess pandemic time. Um, just because went through a time when I had a lot of loss, a lot of grief. So I felt, just it was just a hard time. But it was just a very hard time. And some days it was like I didn't want to get out of bed. I couldn't even get out of bed. But then I started telling myself, you have so much to do, like the world needs you, just kind of like speaking into myself. And during
Mhm.
that time, I just learned to celebrate me. I have on my, and I tell people I am amazing, and
Oh,
I
that's
have
good.
on my a sticky note that says, you are amazing. Don't doubt yourself, believe because you are amazing. I say I'm on the apple of God's eye. It's like the affirmations that celebrate
Mhm.
me and my uniqueness. And I tell myself there's nobody like you. The world needs you and the world needs your gifts, your talents, and the things that you have to offer. So that would be self-gratitude. It's,
Mhm.
it's a form of self-care, self-trust. The dog is so funny. And self-love.
You know, as I get bigger and get bigger, have a studio dwelling and not the open area of my front room because I don't want to take the guest room because my grandson is here all the time. Y'all gonna hear rain on these
I don't. It
interviews.
doesn't bother me. It's just funny that the dog is snoring. That's the
She
funny
right
part.
here, like
It's just
chilling.
like when people work from home and their kids are in the background. I'm like, you can't shush kids. Kids are being kids. They're gonna make noise. It's okay. We know you work at home. Nobody's mad. Well, I don't get mad because your kids are in the background playing, you know. So
Yeah,
it
and they
doesn't,
gonna
no, it
hear it.
doesn't bother me. It's just funny because he is literally snoring.
Yes, loudly, loudly. I have one more question for you.
Okay.
What advice would you give your younger self to help cultivate self trust and a promise that you would make to yourself to ensure that you cultivate that trust and that love for yourself?
I would definitely tell my younger self, um, I would instill in my younger self self-love principles. I know back then I don't know what we called it, but it may be confidence because we sure didn't call it self-love.
Girl,
But
look, I don't even think we called it anything.
right, because I don't even know if we did, we understood it. But I would definitely validate her because I still struggle with there are areas like where my even though I know like I'm smart, I know that I'm beautiful. There's still times, of course, when I struggle with that. I think we all do that, even if we know it. But I would validate her. I would tell her that I would tell her to take more chances, to push the boundary sometimes, um, tell her to do it afraid because fear kept me from doing a lot of things. So I would tell her, do it afraid, push the boundaries. Um, what did I say first? Do it afraid, push the boundaries. Oh, take
Validate. You'd
chances.
validate her.
Yep, I would tell her to take more chances, and I would validate her. Um, and the promise, like you mean like a promise I can make myself now,
Well,
or
that you would tell her. So,
oh,
and that over the
oh,
years,
okay.
you tap into that little girl within and remember that promise to kind of motivate you to keep propelling forward.
Okay. So if a promise is that I would tell her, I promise that it's going to be okay, that you
Yes.
are going to be okay.
Yes. I love it. I love it. I love it. So I'm gonna try not to get some sentimental here, but one of the best parts about this being my YouTube channel is that I can.
Yes. Yes.
And I love you.
I love
Thank you for
you.
being my friend.
Oh.
Thank you for being my ride or die, my
Now, you
check.
know I have
Hey,
a mascara, so like I'm trying not to cry, okay?
and thank you for just helping me through a whole host of things and just being there for me. I
You're welcome.
appreciate your friendship.
You are so welcome. And I appreciate you. I'm so happy about just like the progress you made with you starting your business, the progress you made. I'm excited to see like what it becomes, how big it becomes. I think this is definitely needed. There's so many of us, and especially women of color, struggle with making, I know for me, making ourselves small, and we need a platform where we
Yes,
know that we can tap into that. We can be not necessarily loud, but we can use our voice, and it's okay. Like we can learn to accept ourselves. Not everybody is like a background person, but to know that it's okay to be whoever we are, whoever God created us to be, to walk in that uniqueness. So I'm excited for you.
yes.
I'm very proud of you,
Me too.
because I have seen so much growth in you in the last few years, and I'm very proud of you. I love you too, and I'm just really happy to see where this goes. I'm glad that I'm like on the front side, so this interview can be like better, and like we can be on the stage doing our TED talk, so
Girl, we gonna be TED talking together. They're gonna be like, we have a team here.
yes, yes, yes.
Yes, I cannot wait. I
Yes,
cannot wait.
yes. I'm very proud of you, and I love you too. And I want to say thank you for allowing me the opportunity to come on here and do the interview, and I'm grateful for what's to come.
Yes, I hope you come back.
I
I hope
will.
you're ready to do a live. This is a recording, but
Ooh,
start to think it
um,
over, think it over. I'm not gonna push it
yes,
on you.
yes.
Yeah.
I will do it live as long as I can prepare. Even though I didn't prepare, and I feel like I'm not as nervous as I thought I was gonna be, probably because I'm talking to you. But if I know people are watching and I can see, like, 5 people in the room, or 10 or 20 or 100 or a million, then I might have a problem.
I love it. She just spoke it into existence.
Yes,
She said, or a million.
yes,
I'll take it. That's received.
yes,
That's received.
yes.
So I'm
Receive it.
so glad that you came on to just share time with the Me Timers. You dropped some gems, women of color, inspiration for young girls, and a mom, and what
Yeah.
we have to do to move and shake, and how we transition in that role. So
Mhm.
I'm just so glad that you did this with me today, and thank you, friend.
You're welcome. Thank you for the opportunity.
All right, Me Timers. So drop some comments in the comment section. Let me and JoJo know how you felt about this interview. Don't forget to subscribe, because yeah, we building community here on Me Time with Mind Escape Vibe, where it is your time to be kind to your mind.
I love
All
that.
right. Have a good day.
All right. Bye.